Hi Guy, tonight we begin deep within the winding corridors of Gyeongbokgung Palace, where dawn hasn't quite broken and the air is still steeped in soot and chilled mist. You find yourself standing barefoot on creaking wooden planks, the hem of your linen robe just brushing the cold floor, as the first stove in the royal kitchen croaks to life. Steam curls upward like incense smoke, mingling with the scent of scorched rice and old secrets. Someone hums a lullaby in the dark, though no one admits to knowing its words. You trail your fingers along a row of copper kettles, each one warming slowly, like aging animals reluctant to wake. A few yards away, someone stokes the fire with a twig bundle dipped in tallow, muttering under their breath. Not quite a prayer, not quite a curse. A pot lid rattles on its own. Probably the draft. Probably, you won't survive this, you know. Not the court, not the politics, not the kitchens. But you do have a steady hand, a quiet tongue, and the curiosity of a cat who's already used up 6 of its 9 lives. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. Someone once told me they listen to this at 3:13 a.m. every night, just as their radiator groans to life. I find that oddly comforting. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You reach for a porcelain bowl, smooth, shallow, faintly cracked, the kind they don't let you touch unless you've earned at least 3 stripes on your apron. You haven't, but no one's looking. You cradle it like it's fragile enough to remember things. It's still warm from the last meal, maybe duck stew, maybe dreams. Outside, the palace is hushed, but not still. Somewhere, a eunuch yells at a sleepy falcon. A paper lantern flickers under the eastern gate. Inside, you count spoonfuls of barley into a simmering pot. Each one lands with a wet plop. 4, 5, 6. You add one more because you always do. Superstition or habit. Hard to tell the difference at this hour. Behind you, Wolwa enters. She doesn't announce herself. She never does. Just appears. Always clean, always composed, like she dreams in grids. Her apron is spotless, not just washed. Starched. You can hear it whisper when she moves. She glances at your barley and tilts her head. You expect a rebuke. You get a smile. Or at least, something that tries to be one. It's the most approval you've ever gotten from anyone with their own knife set. Wolwa isn't the best cook in the palace. She's the best watcher. She notices who favors ginger in spring, who pretends to be allergic to garlic during rain festivals, who winces when the soup is too clear. Her specialty isn't a dish, it's knowledge. And tonight, her attention is on you. You follow Wolwa without a word, not because she asks, she never does, but because you've learned that curiosity is its own leash. She moves silently through the back corridor, her steps practiced, avoiding every creaky plank as if the palace itself taught her where not to tread. You pass rows of jars sealed with waxy paper and marked with neat Hangul labels. Asterisk asterisk plum vinegar asterisk, asterisk asterisk fermented bean paste asterisk, asterisk asterisk salted squid ink asterisk. Each one a mystery you're technically not allowed to touch unless it's part of your assigned rotation, which it's not. Wolwa pauses before a small door you've passed 100 times but never noticed. It's set low, as if made for someone shorter or for hiding. She knocks once. Not loudly. Not softly. Just precisely. The door opens. Inside, the room is barely large enough for 2 people to stand without touching. Shelves line the walls, crowded with scrolls, sachets of dried herbs, a small shrine you pretend not to notice. The woman seated in the center doesn't rise. She wears a worn blue gyogori, her sleeves mottled with old tea stains, and she's missing the last joint of her right pinky. Her eyes, milk-clouded with age, fix on you anyway. Another one, she murmurs, though she doesn't sound disappointed. Just tired. This is the Shaman. No official title. No registry scroll. Just a presence tolerated within the palace, like rats in the rafters. Annoying, possibly useful, hard to remove. Her name is lost to history, if she ever gave one. But the cooks call her asterisk, asterisk, bunyang, asterisk, which either means misty breath or the one who speaks in steam. It depends on who's translating. She gestures, and Wolhwa bows. You don't? Not out of defiance, but because you're not sure this is a person. She smells like ashes and plum pits, and there's something oddly shiny stuck behind her left ear. A bone bead, maybe. You can't tell. Show me your tongue, she says. You hesitate, then comply. She squints. Too much radish, she says, and something about you attracts hungry things. Wolhwa suppresses a smile. She's heard this before. Then the shaman lifts a small lacquered box. She opens it with care. Inside is a bundle of dried leaves bound with red thread. You recognize none of them. This, she says, is for when the queen forgets her hunger. You don't ask what it is. You know better, but you catch the smell, earthy, with something sweet beneath, like burnt honey or roasted chestnut skins. Wolhwa takes it reverently. The shaman coughs, a wet wheezing sound that might have once been a laugh. One of these days, she croaks, you'll wish you hadn't learned to taste silence. Later that night, you lie in your cot, replaying her words. You're not sure what they mean, but they taste like truth. By the time the sun crawls over the palace walls, you're already elbow-deep in cabbage. Not metaphorically, literally. Dozens of heads, halved and quartered, pile around you like plump green stones. The air is thick with salt, and the faint tang of fermentation. Your hands are numb from brine and early morning, but your mind still lingers on the shaman's packet, now hidden beneath Wolhwa's pillow. Today is asterisk kimchi day docked. Officially, the kitchen calls it asterisk diatong kimchi preparation for the inner court. Unofficially, it's the only day of the month when everyone pretends to be equal. Even the junior scribes roll up their sleeves and help mix chili flakes. It's more performance than culinary necessity. The queen likes to see her court connected to the land. She says it reminds her of her childhood. No one dares ask which part of her childhood involved 20 servants massaging garlic into vegetables while standing ankle-deep in radish water. You glance up. Wolhwa is working beside the chief pickler, a tiny woman with hands like leather straps and a voice like a crow that learned etiquette. They speak in hushed tones. You catch one word. Asterisk, hion mai. Asterisk, brown rice. Or, depending on pronunciation, asterisk, secret flavor. Asterisk. You try not to think about it. You go back to massaging the cabbage. The kimchi destined for the queen is always different, subtler, a little sweeter, a little more herbal. No one writes down the full recipe. Not even the royal cook. The mix changes slightly every month, except for one consistent rule. Never let it sour. Sour means rot, the chief pickler once told you, squinting into a jar as if judging its soul. You mean taste, you corrected, because you hadn't learned caution yet. She smacked you with a turnip. Sour means asterisk rot. Asterisk, you understand now. In politics, in people, in food. As the morning stretches on, Wolhwa passes behind you. Her hand brushes yours. Not an accident. She slips a folded scrap of mulberry paper into your sleeve. You don't read it until hours later, after the last kimchi pot is sealed and buried in the cool earth near the kitchen walls. The note reads, Midnight. Dongdaemun Spicegate. Bring no one. Wear no apron. Asterisk. You blink at it. Not because you're surprised, because she signed it. Asterisk. W. Siegefing Imperendikalisk. Asterisk. And Wolhwa never signs anything. Not even her name. Midnight comes like it always does in the palace. Quiet, heavy, and full of listening walls. You wear your plainest robe. Not the apron, not even kitchen slippers. Just soft-soled indoor shoes and a scarf to hide your hair. You look like a lower maid, or maybe someone's forgotten niece visiting under discreet circumstances. Exactly unimportant. The Dongdaemun Spice Gate isn't much of a gate. It's a low archway near the storehouses, half obscured by thorn bushes, and mostly used for hauling in sacks of chili, cinnamon, and dried tangerine peels. No one guards it after the 9th bell, not because it's secure, but because it smells too strongly of clove and damp ginger to attract anything more dangerous than moths. Wolwa waits in the shadows. She doesn't greet you, just starts walking. You follow. Together you step beyond the wall. The city outside is a velvet blur, lanterns glowing in doorways, ox carts creaking in their sleep, a cat dashing between two laundry lines like it stole something. The sky hangs low, bruised with clouds, and the moon looks too tired to shine. Wolwa takes you to a place you've never been, the back edge of the Dongdaemun night market. Not the lively part with red paper lamps and roasted chestnuts. No. This is the part where the stalls sag under the weight of mildew and the sellers never make eye contact. She stops at a tattered cloth canopy strung with dried herbs. No sign. Just bundles of unfamiliar roots, small woven charms shaped like fish, and a wooden tray filled with powders, gray, crimson, and a gold so bright it doesn't look real. An old man sits behind the tray, his face more wrinkle than expression. He doesn't blink. Not once. Wolwa lifts a coin from her sleeve. Not silver, not copper, something flatter. Bone? She places it gently in front of the old man. He snorts, picks up the coin, then opens a lacquer box beneath the tray. Inside, 4 small vials. One of them glows faintly. You think it's a trick of the lamplight. Then you blink again. It's still glowing. Wolwa points to the second vial. The one that doesn't glow but smells like something halfway between smoked plum and lightning. The man nods. He wraps it in waxed cloth, passes it to her. Never says a word. Wolwa doesn't look at you until you're halfway back to the palace. That, she says quietly, was asterisk dragon root powder asterisk, supposedly used in the king's dishes. Before his memory failed. You want to ask where she heard that. But the look on her face tells you the better question is, why does she believe it? Asterisk. The next morning you pretend nothing happened. You scrub pots. You chop scallions. You watch a junior cook cry into a bowl of anchovy stock because she sliced her finger and no one offered sympathy. Business as usual. But your mind hums like a kettle just before the whistle. Not from guilt. Not quite. It's the feeling of standing too close to a fire you're not supposed to notice. Wolwa says nothing either. She's across the courtyard today, preparing the queen's personal lunch tray. Asterisk steamed sea bream with mung bean jelly and persimmon vinegar glaze asterisk. A delicate arrangement. Nothing bold, nothing scandalous. Except, maybe, the powder she mixed into the glaze when no one was looking. Or maybe she didn't. Maybe it was just 5 spice. Historians still argue whether dragon root powder was even real. Some claim it was just an over-marketed blend of rhubarb and powdered lily bulb. Others swear it had mild narcotic effects and was outlawed during the reign of King Zhengzheng after a royal cousin claimed it made his shadows move on their own. You don't get to argue. You just get to plate things. That afternoon, the queen eats everything. Her attendants titter politely. One compliments the jelly's texture. Another says something vague about brightness. The queen says nothing, but she smiles. And that night, the kitchens buzz. Not with celebration, but with suspicion. You hear whispers between the picklers and the firewood boys. Something about the queen refusing her usual herbal tea. About her laughter echoing down the east corridor. About her asking to see the stars again. It's not unheard of for royalty to behave, strangely, but it's rarely seen as charming. Wolwa meets your eye as you scrub bowls that don't need scrubbing. She gives the faintest shake of her head. You know what it means. Asterisk say nothing. Asterisk Asterisk. You nod, but your curiosity itches. Later, you sneak into the back pantry. Not to steal, just to check. Inside Wolwa's spice drawer, tucked behind bundles of dried seaweed, you find a sliver of waxed cloth. Unwrapped, it smells faintly of plum and smoke, but it's empty. Whatever was in that vial, it's already inside the queen. And maybe, just maybe, inside the cord itself. You can't sleep. The wooden beams above your cot creak like old teeth grinding in the dark. Outside, something rustles. A squirrel, maybe, or a ghost with a limp. Either way, it's not your business. Not tonight. Your dreams, when they come, are filled with jellyfish and vinegar. A sea bream floats by, its eyes blinking far too slowly. You wake up sweating, clutching your blanket like it owes you answers. The next day, something changes. Not loudly, not obviously, but you feel it. The emperor doesn't finish his midday porridge. The steward chalks it up to summer sluggishness, despite it being late autumn. You hear that he's taken up painting again, an old pastime he abandoned after his mother's death. He's been asking for lavender tea. Not a single order of ginseng in 3 days. And then comes the real shift. The grand banquet. Asterisk, asterisk. An unscheduled event, planned in a whisper, and announced with a flutter of scrolls and stamps. Foreign dignitaries are invited. So are high-ranking nobles, most of whom weren't expecting to return to court until the first snow. You're summoned, not to cook, yet to observe. You sit on a low stool near the edge of the queen's private garden. Wolhua joins you without speaking. She hands you a sweet rice cake wrapped in lotus leaf, and you both pretend not to hear the senior kitchen officials debating menu pairings with the chief protocol eunuch. It's chaos dressed in formality. One voice stands out, the queen's. She wants asterisk, asterisk something new, asterisk something bold, something that remembers the old flavors, but tastes like what hasn't been imagined yet. No one knows what that means. But Wolwa does. She stands, smooths her apron, and says one word. Asterisk, Sunchang. Asterisk, asterisk. The room goes quiet. Sunchang is a province, sure, but it's more than that. It's a name whispered in kitchens like a warning or a prayer. The best gochujang, red pepper paste, comes from there, or came from there, depending on which side of the great purity dispute you believe. The spice is said to be so rich, so hauntingly deep, that even the blandest dish can become poetry. Or poison. You glance at Wolwa. She doesn't look at you, but you know she's already sent for it. And whatever happens at this banquet starts with that fire-red paste. The Sunchang paste arrives at dawn, packed in thick ceramic crocks sealed with wax and ash. Each one is heavy enough to require 2 bearers. The seals are unbroken, marked with strange red brushstrokes that look less like writing and more like warnings. Or maybe prayers. Hard to tell with spice makers. They're a dramatic lot. Wolwa inspects every crock herself. She doesn't speak as she does it, just lifts the lids, smells the surface, nods, and moves to the next. By the 5th, her eyes begin to water. Not from emotion. From the heat. You catch a whiff and immediately sneeze into your sleeve. Your nose goes numb. Your throat prickles. You feel like you've been punched by a very polite chili pepper wearing silk gloves. This isn't gochujang like the kind you scrape from cheap stone pots. This is deeper, smokier, almost fermented with asterisk intent. You help ladle a sample into a small dish, just enough to test. Wolwa tastes it with the tip of a wooden spoon, closes her eyes, and breathes out slowly. Needs apricot seed oil, she murmurs. You raise an eyebrow. That's not part of any royal recipe, you know. She shrugs. It's not for the royals. Before you can ask what that means, she's already disappeared behind the garden curtain, crocs in tow. The banquet prep begins in earnest. Every department is frantic. The fishmongers have delivered live carp. The meat storerooms smell faintly of ginger rub and panic. Someone is plucking quails too close to the lotus pond, and the queen's pet heron has taken offense. It's chaos with linen napkins and ceremonial fans. But your orders are specific. Work on the side dishes. Namely, the asterisk, banchan, asterisk, asterisk. That means fermented beans, preserved roots, delicate greens, massaged with sesame oil, and dusted with crushed pine nuts. It also means the one dish the queen always eats last. Asterisk, sweet radish kimchi, asterisk, served cold, just before dessert. You're prepping the radish when you notice something. A sliver of red paste in the wrong bowl. Just a tiny smear. Nothing large. Nothing obvious. But it's not supposed to be there. You don't panic. Not externally. You scan the table. Everyone looks busy. Focused. Except Wolfa. She's watching you. And she nods, barely. Like this is the next step in a plan she wrote long before you ever held a knife. You add the oil. You stir the radish. You don't taste it. But the air around you smells like something sacred and dangerous, and maybe just a little bit vengeful. The banquet begins beneath the eastern pavilions, where silk canopies sway like slow sails and the moonlight turns the lacquered trays into mirrors. You stand just outside the perimeter, hands folded, hair tucked, apron off, a ghost in servant beige. Your dish, asterisk the sweet radish kimchi with the sunchang whisper asterisk, rests third from the left in the queen's personal arrangement. It doesn't stand out. It's not meant to. But it gleams slightly like it remembers sunlight. Across the courtyard, nobles sip pine tea and glance sideways. The air smells like grilled fish and fear. The emperor yawns too early, but no one comments. The queen lifts her chopsticks with the elegance of someone who was probably born holding them. She eats in order: soup, steamed abalone, pressed chestnut jelly, then your dish. She chews slowly, then chews again, and laughs. Not a chuckle. A bright, delighted laugh, like wind chimes being surprised. Everyone freezes. A court lady drops a cup. A dog outside barks once and goes silent. The musicians hesitate, unsure whether to keep playing or begin praying. The queen dabs her lips. "What was that?" she asks, looking nowhere and everywhere. The steward blinks. "Your Majesty, sweet radish with apricot oil, and Not what it was, asterisk," she interrupts, eyes narrowing. "What it reminded me of." You hold your breath. Wolwa steps forward, her voice steady. "It's a northern-style blend, my queen. Once popular in the houses of Sunchang, said to stir the memory." The queen blinks, then nods once. A little too slowly. And then she speaks. Not to anyone, just aloud. "I had a friend," she says. "She lived by a plum orchard. We stole apricots in spring and ate them with sugar on the roof tiles." No one moves. "I haven't thought of her in 20 years. The emperor clears his throat, confused. A eunuch drops his fan. You feel your pulse in your knees. Wolwa smiles. The queen doesn't say anything else, but she finishes the radish. Every bite. And when the musicians begin again, she hums along with them. Later that night, you pass Wolwa near the kitchen coals. She hands you a wrapped bundle. Flat, square, still warm. "You'll want this," she says. Inside, a fresh scroll of recipes. Not palace ones. Hers. Asterisk. At the bottom, one line written in the same tiny ink she uses for spices. Times asterisk memory is just flavor wearing old clothes. Asterisk. You don't sleep that night. You just lie still, the scroll beneath your pillow, and try to remember the last time someone fed you something that tasted like forgiveness. A week passes. You return to the rhythm of the kitchen. Chopping, ladling, listening. No explosions of laughter from the queen. No mysterious powders slipped into rice vinegar. Just the usual: pickled lotus stems, burnt congee on the night shift, and a senior cook who insists garlic peels are the mark of a lazy hand. But something's changed. Not in the food, in the glances. People start watching Wulwa more carefully. She moves with the same grace, the same silence, but now even the senior butlers pause when she passes. The Queen's personal maid has begun sitting closer to her during prep. Not interfering, just watching. One afternoon, while grinding toasted sesame into a fine powder, you overhear a whisper. She gave Her Majesty her memory back. You want to argue, to explain that memory is not something you scoop like rice, but you don't, because they're not wrong. Not entirely. Historians still argue whether the Queen's sudden clarity that season was due to the sunchung paste, divine intervention, or simple nostalgia from a well-timed childhood reference. But you were there. You saw the way her face cracked open, like light through frost. Today's menu seems simple: bone broth, barley rice, steamed cabbage. But as you prepare the broth, you notice something floating near the surface. A single red date, split, its seeds removed and replaced with a sliver of something pale. You fish it out. Taste it. Not strong. Barely there, really. Just a hint of ginseng steeped too long. And something bitter. You don't remember adding that. You glance toward Wulwa. She's slicing radish, slow and deliberate, like she's making decisions with every movement. You think of the scroll beneath your sleeping mat. The one she gave you. You haven't opened it since that night. Not because you forgot, because you're afraid of what it might ask of you. After dinner, the Queen requests a second bowl of broth. She eats slowly, then orders that the rest be reserved. No sharing, she says, her tone light, almost teasing. But her eyes are sharp. That night, Wulwa doesn't return to the servants' quarters. You ask no questions. But you notice the broth pot is cleaned out. Scrubbed so perfectly it reflects your face. And something moving behind it. You turn. Nothing there. Just the scent of plum smoke and memory. Wearing old clothes. The next morning begins with silence. Not the peaceful kind, like when snow blankets the city and even the birds agree to sleep in. No. This silence hums with tension, like chopsticks hovering too long before a bite. Wulwa is still absent. No one speaks her name aloud. But her presence echoes louder than her steps ever did. The senior cook reviews the breakfast rota twice, frowns at the broth assignment, then moves on without comment. The Queen has asked for mung bean porridge, simple and soft, the kind usually served during illness or long grief. You take the task. You soak the beans carefully, removing each broken one by hand. You boil them slow. You stir counterclockwise, always counterclockwise. An old superstition meant to ward off bitterness or maybe ghosts. You don't ask, the porridge thickens gently. You add a splash of sesame oil and just the tiniest dusting of crushed pine nuts, which you know the Queen prefers even if she never said it. While it simmers, you open the scroll. Not all the way, just the first panel. It's not what you expect. No dramatic secrets. No inked curses. Just a list of pairings. Not old Bomis plum plus white fungus equals soft memory. Asterisk, asterisk. Not old Bomis perilla leaf plus pork equals silence. Asterisk, asterisk. Not old Bontadurisk. Pine mushroom plus glutinous rice equals obedience. Asterisk, asterisk. Tamar red bean plus seaweed broth equals regret. Asterisk, asterisk. Asterisk. Each combination feels like poetry, or code, or maybe a diary in flavors. At the bottom, a single line in smaller script. Times asterisk, every queen forgets, every cook remembers. Asterisk, asterisk. You roll the scroll back up slowly, as though it might bruise. Later that day, you deliver the porridge yourself. A rare honor, and one no one volunteers for unless they're prepared to meet the Queen's eyes. She sits by the window, half shadowed by a paper screen painted with cranes. She doesn't speak. She just gestures for the bowl. You offer it with both hands, lowering your eyes, but you hear her inhale. Once, sharply, then a small laugh. Someone's been learning. You look up. She smiles, not at you, but through you, as though seeing something beyond the room. Tell Wolhua, she says, pausing just long enough for your heart to trip, that the broth yesterday made me dream of my mother. She takes the first spoonful. You bow, backing away. And for the first time in days, you realize your hands aren't shaking. You fed a memory to a monarch, and she remembered. The kitchens that night feel quieter than usual. Even the coals in the hearth seem to crackle more gently, as if they too are waiting for something. Or someone. You sit near the washing barrels, peeling lotus stems. The rhythm calms your nerves. Slice, strip, drop into the water. The starch clouds the basin like milk. Someone behind you hums an old folk tune, the kind only mountain villagers sing during harvest. Wowa still hasn't returned, but her absence is becoming a presence of its own. The younger cooks glance toward her usual station, only to catch themselves. A few even mutter her name under their breath, followed by the quick flick of fingers against wood. Asterisk, asterisk, knocking away bad luck, asterisk. You hear rumors whispered behind sacks of barley. She's been moved to the queen's private residence. No. She was reassigned to the royal alchemists. My cousin's cousin said she's left the palace, gone back north. None of them sound right, but you say nothing. After the evening meal, you wander toward the spice storage. Not for ingredients, just to breathe. The mingled scents. Pepper, coriander, roasted soybean, steady your thoughts better than tea. You find something odd. Her drawer? It's been cleaned, not emptied, cleaned. Every jar still in place, every label intact. But the layer of fine powder that always coated the wood, gone. The faint smudge of her fingerprint on the chili jar, vanished. It's like she was asterisk, never here, except for one thing. Tucked beneath a packet of dried chrysanthemum petals is a folded cloth, the same waxed wrapper she used for the sunchang paste. Inside, a note. Asterisk. When the wind smells like burnt apricot, stir 3 times before tasting. Asterisk, asterisk. No signature, no initials, just that one line, wrapped in memory. You return to your cot, and that night you dream. Not of the queen, not of recipes, not even of Wolwa. You dream of a kitchen where every pot hums a different tune, of ghostly smells and invisible spices, of a voice that says, softly, more's asterisk. Taste is truth when the tongue remembers. Asterisk, asterisk. You wake before dawn, heart quiet, mouth dry. And for reasons you don't quite understand, you begin boiling barley water. Not for anyone else, just for yourself. The next morning, you're reassigned. It's not a punishment. At least, not officially. The steward says the queen has requested a asterisk, quiet hand asterisk in the preparation of her personal breakfast trays, and apparently, your name came up. You want to ask why you, but you don't. You nod, you bow, and you gather your knives. You're placed in a smaller kitchen now. Tucked beneath the queen's residence, it's more of a chamber, really. 1 fire pit, 2 prep tables, and a single ventilation screen that creaks like a bird every time the wind shifts. It's colder here. Still, there's no one else. Just a wooden box with your name etched into it. Not painted, asterisk carved. Asterisk. Inside, a set of utensils, all freshly scrubbed. A pouch of crushed pine nuts, a sealed jar of plum vinegar, and a folded cloth, waxed. You unfold it carefully. It's empty, but you know the feeling of that texture in your hands. It's the same type wolhua, used for the dragon root powder. A message. No words this time. Just asterisk possibility. Asterisk. You begin cooking. Millet porridge, delicately sweetened, with thinly sliced jujube and roasted chestnuts. You steam a side of white pumpkin. Then toast black sesame seeds until they pop like tiny firecrackers. No spices today. Nothing unusual. But you follow instinct. When the queen's tray is collected, you place a single plum blossom, salt-cured and rinsed, on the porridge. Not for taste, for memory. You wait. The next day, the tray comes back clean. No notes. But the steward nods slightly when he sees you, like he's known something all along. Your duties continue like this. Small dishes, chosen with care. No fanfare, just flavor. You begin noticing things. The queen's appetite sways with the weather. She eats more when it rains, less when the wind howls. She favors chewy textures on days when the court is tense, and softer ones when the emperor visits. You keep a private list now, not just ingredients, but moods. A letter if you dree. Mung bean plus silence equals trust. Asterisk, asterisk. Mungcold Beiger's pumpkin plus wind equals sadness. Asterisk, asterisk. Beadvork pine nut plus sour plum equals clarity. Asterisk. Asterisk. It becomes its own language. And sometimes you wonder, asterisk, asterisk. Is this how Wulwa did it? Asterisk. Asterisk. Not with spells, not with poisons, but with attention. With pattern, with flavors woven gently, like silk threads into the fabric of memory. You're not her, but you're learning. And the queen remembers, one evening, long after the last tray has been collected and the rice wash drained, a knock comes to the side door of your little kitchen. It's not a servant, not a steward, not a cook. It's the queen's asterisk physician, asterisk. More. You've seen him before. Always from a distance, always shadowed by two guards. He's not the type to visit kitchens, not even the royal ones. He bows lightly, too lightly for tradition, then steps inside without waiting for permission. You stand there, your hands still damp from peeling pears. He speaks in a low voice, like a breeze sneaking through a closed window. The queen has been remembering too much. You blink. She mentioned a scent today, he continues, apricot smoke and iron. Said it reminded her of the day her younger brother fell from the garden wall. He died that night. No one's spoken of it in 20 years. You say nothing. She also recalled a dish, he adds. Lotus root in ginseng vinegar with a side of charred perilla leaves. Her nurse swears she hasn't eaten that since she was 13. You don't answer. You're not sure what the right answer even is. The physician watches you, eyes steady. I don't know what you're doing, he says at last, but I think you should keep doing it. Then he leaves. No bow this time. Just the faint scent of dried herbs trailing behind him. You return to your prep, but your fingers feel different. Like they remember something too. You sit. You breathe. You think of Wulwa. You remember her note. Asterisk. When the wind smells like burnt apricot. Asterisk, asterisk. You open the ventilation screen. The breeze that slips in asterisk, asterisk. Does asterisk, asterisk smell faintly of smoke? And apricot. And something else. Something older. You close the screen. Slowly. And begin preparing asterisk, asterisk, lotus root, asterisk, asterisk. For tomorrow. Not because anyone asked. Because memory, it seems, has placed an order. That night, the palace is so quiet, you can hear the moths colliding with the paper lanterns. You lie awake on your mat, arms folded behind your head, staring at the wooden beams overhead. They look the same as always. Dark, slightly cracked, probably older than you'll ever get to be. But something in the air feels shifted, like someone's nudged the past, and now it won't settle back into place. You remember the queen's tray, the way she leaned forward when she saw the lotus root, the way her fingers hovered, then withdrew, as if her body knew something her mind had forgotten. She ate it anyway, and you noticed, she didn't speak during that meal. Not to her maid, not to the steward. Just silence. A deep, listening silence. You think of Wolhwa again. You wonder if she ever regretted the recipes she brought back. If she ever stirred a pot, knowing it would unlock something no one wanted remembered. Historians still argue whether the royal kitchens in Gyeongbokgung used herbs solely for nourishment or subtle control. Some believe certain dishes were designed to pacify. Others claim they were used to elicit emotion during key state events. And a few quiet voices in older texts insist that food was the queen's private diary, written in sauces and garnishes, read only by those who dared to taste. In the quiet of your room, you retrieve the scroll once more. You unroll it fully this time. Each page holds more than recipes. There are notes in the margins, coded symbols, a few drops of oil staining the lower edge, a list of dishes paired with times of day subnomic immune phases, nanjdini twont sorts quutsi board jacques olivers, subnomic immune phases calers, worn by the queen, and at the end, time to serve the body is duty, to stir the soul is treason. Choose wisely. You sit there, the moonlight falling across your knees, the scroll unfurled like a spell waiting to be cast. Outside, a bell tolls midnight, and inside, your memory sharpens like a blade run through vinegar. Tomorrow, you will prepare the queen's lunch. You already know what it will be. Plum broth with toasted millet, quinoa, steamed fish wrapped in perilla leaf, and red bean jelly, cold, dusted with cinnamon, You don't know what she'll remember, but you know this. When she does, it will be because of you, and that somehow terrifies you more than it should. Morning comes with mist so thick it clings to your sleeves as you walk. You light the kitchen fire slowly, letting the flames rise on their own schedule. No rush. The queen doesn't like to eat before the sun is fully up. That gives you time to work, to measure, to remember. The broth is the first to go on. Plum, lightly sweet, brewed with dried jujube pits and a pinch of ground millet It simmers soft, like a conversation you're not meant to hear. Next, the fish. River bream, steamed in a bundle of perilla leaf and salt-crushed mugwort. Delicate, slightly earthy. You steam it just long enough for the spine to pull clean in one motion. You do not flinch when it does. Then, the jelly. Red bean, pressed overnight and cooled under river stones. You slice it into perfect squares, then dust it with cinnamon and a breath of lemon oil. Not traditional. But memory, you've learned, doesn't follow recipes. As you arrange the tray, you remember something small. The way Wolhwa used to tap each dish once with the flat of her spoon before sending it off. Not superstition. Not exactly. More like punctuation. You do the same. The steward arrives. He doesn't speak. Just eyes the tray, nods once, and carries it off into the palace, where you cannot follow. So you clean. You wipe down every surface. Scrub the floor, grind sesame seeds even though no one asked. You keep your hands moving because your thoughts are loud today. What if she cries? What if she forgets again? What if the dish works too well? You've begun to understand what Wolhwa meant. Flavor is a knife with no hilt It cuts both ways. By midday, the steward returns. Empty tray, except for the jelly. One perfect square left, untouched. He places it gently on your table. She said, he murmurs, "You'll know what to do with it." Then he leaves. You stare at the jelly. It's glistening, still cold, as if time hasn't touched it. You lift it, turn it in your hand. On the bottom, carved lightly, with what? A fingernail? A symbol, 3 dots. In a triangle. You've seen it before. On the corner of Wolhwa's scroll. You look toward the coals. The room is warm, the mist outside gone, and somehow you know this isn't just a dessert, it's an answer, or a message, and you're the only one left to read it. You don't eat the jelly. You hold it, like an heirloom you didn't know you'd inherited, like a riddle that smells faintly of cinnamon and loss. The symbol, 3 dots in a triangle, isn't just a mark. It's a placement. A asterisk direction, Norley 1, Noily. You recall the scroll. In the bottom margin of a page titled Asterisk Jelly as Vessel, not Finale, asterisk, there's that same mark pointing toward a folded corner you'd overlooked. You retrieve the scroll again. Carefully, you peel back that folded edge. There, written in finer brushstrokes than the rest, is a short passage. Asterisk. Memory hidden in sweetness lasts longest, but only when fed to another. Asterisk. Your heart thumps once. Then again, like a slow drum at a funeral. This jelly wasn't meant for the queen. It was meant to be delivered. Passed on. But to whom? You sit down, the jelly still in your hand, and begin a mental list. The physician? No. Too cautious. The steward? Possibly. But his fingers trembled when he left the tray. Then you remember. The queen's maid. She's the one who always leaves a blossom on the windowsill of the private kitchen. No one told her to. She just does. A silent signal, maybe, or gratitude. And last week, you saw her help the queen dress and tuck something carefully into the folds of her robe. A gesture too practiced, too precise, to be casual. She's the thread. You wrap the jelly in silk, not at once, then twice. You don't label it. There's no need. The person it's meant for will recognize the silence it carries. That evening, when you pass her in the corridor near the queen's study, you slow your pace. Your arms brush. The jelly passes hands. She doesn't look back, but she doesn't drop it. You exhale. That night, you light no candles. You sleep early, dreamlessly. In the morning, a note waits beside your chopping board. No cinder, just 3 words. Asterisk. She remembered everything. Asterisk. Your hands tremble for the first time in weeks. Not from fear, from relief, from the weight of asterisk, knowing asterisk, that the recipe worked, that it told a story, that someone, somewhere, understood. And you realize, this kitchen, it isn't a place for meals. It's a theater. And you're no longer a cook. You're a storyteller. One spoonful at a time. The kitchen no longer feels like the same place. Not because the bricks have changed or the oil jars are missing. Everything is still in its proper spot. The soy sauce still leaks down the side of its crock, and the fire pit still makes that high whine when the wind gets through the vent. But the air is different, lighter, as if someone unknotted a ribbon that had been tied too tight for too long. You step through the morning haze with your ladle in hand, same as always. But for the first time, you realize you're not waiting for instructions. You already know what to cook. No one told you. No scroll left on your mat. No whispered message from a steward with too tight shoes. You just know. Today is a asterisk memory day. Asterisk. So you prepare asterisk sujangwa, that old spiced punch brewed with cinnamon bark, dried persimmons, and the faintest sliver of ginger. Not sweet, not sharp, something in between. You slow boil the syrup, careful not to scorch it. You slice the fruit thin, so thin it shimmers. You chill it with care. You plate it with a pine nut floating gently on the surface, like a single idea rising through a mind full of fog. When the queen drinks it later that afternoon, you're not there. But you hear the story, that she smiled. Not a queen's smile, but a daughter's, and that she said aloud to no one in particular. My mother used to serve this when I couldn't sleep. The maid who brings you that story is flushed and quiet. She bows deeper than necessary. And you thank her, not with words, but by placing the next wrapped jelly into her palm. It's not a message. Not this time. Just a dessert. But one made with sweet red bean and honeyed pine. For courage. For gratitude. Later that night, as you wash your hands, you catch your reflection in the water bucket. You look the same, but something in your eyes flickers. You are still a servant, still a cook, but now you carry asterisk memory, asterisk asterisk like a lantern, and you've begun to understand. The flame you protect isn't just the queen's, it's the whole palace. The next morning, a scroll arrives with no seal, just your name, written in brushstrokes too steady for a court hand. You recognize it instantly, Wolwa, asterisk asterisk. You don't open it right away. You brew tea first, roasted barley, no honey. You sit beside the window, the sun barely cresting the tiled roof. A sparrow hops across the ledge and stares at you like it knows everything. You sip once, then you break the seal. Inside, a single page. No recipes, no instructions, no warnings. Just a story, written in second person. It begins, asterisk. You wake before the fire, before the rice boils, before the court yawns. You listen for silence that feels too full. You stir memory into broth like salt. Asterisk, asterisk. And it goes on. You read about the day you met her, though you never told her how nervous you were. You read about the time she caught your mistake with the dried fern stems and corrected you without a word. About the night she slipped that first note into your sleeve. And then, near the end, momig asterisk. When you feel alone again, remember this. Flavor is memory you can share. That's all we are. Dishes passed hand to hand. Taste carefully. Asterisk asterisk. It's signed simply. Asterisk. Wolwa. P.S. Try mint oil with black rice. You'll know why. Asterisk asterisk. You laugh, softly, and then you cry, not out of sadness exactly, but because someone saw you, truly, in a place that asks you to disappear. You return the scroll to its wrapping. Tuck it beside your spice drawer. You pull out the black rice. You grind a few mint leaves with coarse salt and sesame oil. You don't think too hard. You just trust your hands. That day you prepare a side dish no one asked for. When the queen sees it, she pauses. New? She asks. You nod. An experiment. She lifts a spoonful, tastes. She closes her eyes, and then says, My brother. He used to grow mint in a cracked teapot. He said it helped him breathe. She finishes the bowl. Later, the steward returns with the dish, empty. Tucked inside is a pine needle. Your hands tremble again. You write nothing in return, but the next day, you make the dish again, and again the next week. And every time, the bowl comes back empty, until it doesn't. The first time the bowl comes back untouched, you tell yourself it's a fluke. Maybe the queen wasn't hungry. Maybe she had a headache. Maybe a courtier said something sharp over tea, and her appetite folded in on itself like old paper. You wash the bowl carefully like always, but the next time it happens again. Same dish, same bowl, same untouched mint oil glistening across the black rice like a question left unanswered. You say nothing, not to the steward, not to the others. But your hands stir the morning porridge too fast. Your knuckles ache from gripping the pestle too tightly. That night, you sit by the garden wall. The kitchen is dark, the fire has gone out, the stars are faint. Shy things hiding behind Seoul's late autumn haze. And in your lap, the scroll again, you read the last line over and over, asterisk. We are dishes passed hand to hand. Taste carefully, asterisk asterisk. Did you taste too carefully? Did you stir something that shouldn't have been remembered? Historians still argue whether the queen's slow withdrawal in her later years was caused by political exhaustion, early dementia, or simply the weight of too many ghosts. Some blame the emperor. Others say she began dreaming in foreign tongues and refused to speak Korean for days at a time. You don't know which theory is true, you only know what you saw. A bowl left full. Twice. 3 days later, you try something new. You prepare asterisk chrysanthemum rice cakes asterisk, shaped like moons, filled with sweetened mung bean. Not a dish from the scroll, not even from the court. This is one your grandmother made when the wind was sharp enough to steal words. You place a single mint leaf on top, not inside. This time, the bowl comes back with only crumbs. No pine needle, no message, just the faint scent of oil and flowers. And the feeling, small but certain, that someone out there tasted what you meant to say. You sleep easier that night. No dreams, no queen, just warmth, and the ghost of chrysanthemum on your tongue. Winter creeps in without asking. The stone floor chills your feet before dawn. The soup clings longer to the sides of the pot. Even the mice in the storeroom scratch more desperately, as if afraid of the frost coming through the cracks. And still, you cook. Each day now begins the same. Barley porridge, roasted root tea, thin slices of persimmon soaked in honeyed water. Simple flavors. Gentle ones. The queen's requests grow rarer. The steward says she prefers to rest, that her appetite rises and falls like the tide. No pattern, no warning. But she still eats the rice cakes. Always those. So you keep making them. Chrysanthemum on some days, mugwort on others. Once, you add ground chestnut and a splash of rice wine. That one comes back not only eaten, but warm, returned quickly as if someone had held the bowl for a while before letting go. One evening as you strain fermented soybean for broth, a familiar voice reaches you from the hallway. Low, unhurried. You co-bore, asterisk, asterisk. You freeze, ladle hovering midair. She steps into the room as if she never left. Same crisp movements, same unreadable face, but her eyes are different, quieter, like someone who's heard too many secrets to be surprised anymore. She doesn't speak right away. She just walks to your spice drawer, taps the top of it and smiles. "You've been busy," she says. You nod because your throat doesn't trust itself to form a proper greeting. "I heard she remembers her brother," Wolhua continues, picking up a pepper pod and rolling it between her fingers. "And her mother. And now," her maid says, "she's started humming songs again, ones no one else knows." You finally find your voice. "Why are you here?" She tilts her head, amused. "To see if the kitchen still remembers me." You laugh. Too loud. Too sudden. She grins. Then she hands you a scroll. Older, thinner, but sealed with red wax, shaped like a asterisk, asterisk pine nut, asterisk. "A gift," she says, "for when the queen forgets again, or when you do. You want to ask what's inside. But you know better. Some flavors only open when the time is right." You bow. Deep. Wolhua turns, leaves, and just like that, she's gone again. But not really, because the room still smells like her plum skin, pepper oil, and quiet courage. And you realize, this is how recipes survive. Not ink, not fire. People. Asterisk. Asterisk. People who remember. Snow falls the next morning, slow, fat flakes that land softly on the palace tiles and linger like secrets. You arrive early, as usual. But something about the silence feels deeper today. Not cold, not empty, just full. You light the stove with steady hands. Steam rises from the clay kettle like breath in prayer. You don't rush. You let the water come to a boil in its own time. There's no note, no order. But you know what to make. You choose asterisk congee, soft rice porridge with nothing fancy. Just a few slices of ginger, a splash of perilla oil, and one poached quail egg. Nourishing, mild, warming. Then you add one more dish, a side of stir-fried radish greens, sprinkled with roasted sesame seeds. Not complicated, but it's what your mother used to serve when your winter coughs were worst. You don't write a message. You don't carve a symbol. You just plate it with care. As the steward collects the tray, he pauses. "You're sure she'll eat?" You meet his eyes and smile gently. "I didn't cook for the queen today." He looks confused, but says nothing. He carries the tray away. You return to the hearth. That afternoon, the tray comes back empty. Not scraped. Not rushed. Just clean. Folded on top. A white chrysanthemum petal. Dried. Pressed. You don't ask how it got there. You just wrap it in cloth and place it inside the spice drawer, tucked between coriander seed and ginger root. Later that evening, while cleaning a cracked bowl, you hear singing, high, soft, fragile, from the far end of the garden where the queen's windows face the pines. You can't make out the words, but you know the tune. It's the same one Wolwa hummed while slicing radishes, the same one that stayed in your head the first week you arrived, long before you knew her name. You hum it too now. Quietly, the snow keeps falling, and the kitchen is warm. By the following week, the snow has thickened to a hush that blankets the world. Even the dogs at the outer gates bark softer, as if aware that something delicate is at work inside the palace walls. You awaken before the sun again, not from duty, habit now. The kind of rhythm that lives in the bones after enough winters spent stirring pots and waking before the rice has bloomed. You don't wait for orders. No one sends them anymore. You simply move like you belong to the air between footsteps. Today you prepare *** steamed barley dumplings *** filled with mashed sweet potato and just a hint of crushed cinnamon stem. Not bark. ***stem***. It leaves a subtler trace, like a memory you can't quite place but don't want to forget. As you wrap each dumpling, you think about the queen. She hasn't sent for you in days, but she also hasn't refused a single dish. Every tray you've sent has come back empty, or near to it. And yesterday, there was a folded napkin, pressed carefully, nestled atop the bowl. Inside, a piece of dried orange peel and a pressed leaf of *** perilla, *** shaped like a heart. A message, if ever there was one. But not from the queen, from the one who serves her. You smile to yourself. That afternoon, while the others haul sacks of rice and scrape soot from the chimneys, you slip a dumpling into a separate dish, wrapped in banana leaf, tied with kitchen string. You place it beside the queen's main tray, but tilted slightly. Barely noticeable, but someone will notice. ***. The steward raises an eyebrow but says nothing. That evening he returns alone. The tray is empty as usual, but this time he carries a folded cloth napkin, held like it's something fragile. Inside, a drawing. Simple. Ink on linen. 3 kitchen spoons. Crossed, and above them, *** or pine nut ***. You don't cry, but your hands pause over the firewood, and you bow. Not to anyone in particular, just to the kitchen, to the scent of sesame oil, to the memory of Wolwa's last smile, to the feeling that something has been passed on. Not finished, just past. Days stretch longer now, despite the snow. Or maybe it's just that time feels softer when it isn't counted. No bells ring for you anymore. No one comes to correct your technique or question your choice of garnish. You're not on the rota. You're not in the logbook. And yet, the food keeps going out. A new tray each day. Different dishes, never repeated. Fermented mustard greens with radish slivers. ***. Sticky rice with black sesame and plum syrup. ***. Boiled yams and ginger broth. ***. Nervous seaweed soup with pine mushroom foam. ***. Each one small, precise, meant to do something. You're not sure what anymore. Sometimes the queen hums again. Sometimes she doesn't. Sometimes the tray comes back with a single petal tucked under the edge. Once, it returned with nothing but a single wooden chopstick, clean, warm to the touch. That one you kept, not for utility, just because it felt like a name whispered too quietly to hear. Historians still debate whether the queen's final winter was peaceful or veiled in slow madness. The records are vague. Her court diaries grow sparse. One line simply reads, ***. The rice is quiet today. ***. You think you understand what she meant. Some mornings you rise before the frost has even formed, and all you do is sit by the stove. You hold a bowl of water and watch the ripples settle. The kitchen no longer demands of you. It listens. And when you do cook, you begin each dish with a pause. You ask yourself, ***. What do I want her to remember? ***. Not just her, anyone. Because now you see it as clearly as steam against a window. You were never just feeding a queen. You were giving memory somewhere to land. You were giving ghosts something to taste. That night, you light a single oil lamp and open the old scroll one last time. The ink is faded now, the pages softer at the corners. You trace the lines, every note, every recipe, every margin scribble. At the very end, there's something new. You don't remember it being there. A line so faint it almost disappears. Asterisk. When the kitchen forgets you, you will have become a recipe. Asterisk, asterisk. You close the scroll. Let it rest. And in your chest, something settles. Not grief, not even pride. Just warmth. The kind that stays long after the fire's gone out. Winter breaks without warning. One morning you open the kitchen door expecting frost, and instead find puddles. The kind that shimmer in puddles of thawed light, rimmed with soft mud and scattered pine needles. The scent of wet stone creeps in, mingled with the last traces of burnt chestnut. You take it all in and smile, not because anything extraordinary has happened, but because this, right here, asterisk asterisk, the moment a kitchen exhales asterisk, is its own kind of miracle. You boil barley, you toast seaweed. You press persimmons into thin slivers and drizzle them with honey steeped in licorice root. Each step feels like muscle memory from someone else's life, but now it belongs to you. The queen's appetite, they say, is fading. She eats like someone preparing to leave quietly, one spoonful at a time, but she still finishes the rice cakes. Always. And now every few days, a petal returns. Pressed, dry, sometimes curled at the edges. You've kept them all. They live in a clay jar above the hearth, tucked beside your scroll, your spice cloth, and the spoon wulwa left behind. Not a shrine, exactly. Just a place where flavors rest. You begin preparing one last dish. A asterisk asterisk, sweet barley tea asterisk, brewed with jujube and roasted corn silk. The kind given to travelers before a long journey. You don't label the tray. You don't send a message. Just place it on the ledge with the others. Later that evening, you return to find something new. Not a petal, not a spoon. A box, small, wooden, unlocked. Inside, a single slip of silk embroidered with thread the color of cooled ash, and 3 words. Asterisk. Now it's yours. Asterisk, asterisk. You place the cloth in your pocket, turn to the fire, and begin preparing the next day's meal. Not out of duty, not out of fear, but because someone, somewhere, will need to remember. And you've become the recipe. Dash, 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 dot, dot. Half down, final section, asterisk. The fire crackles low now, soft as breath against your shoulder. The kitchen is quiet. Outside, the palace sleeps beneath the hush of melted snow and early spring. The air has changed, but not the work. Never the work. You settle into stillness, your hands no longer busy, your thoughts quiet. The steam from the last pot rises lazily, curling like a question you no longer need answered. You think of wulwa, of the queen, of the silent spoons and empty bowls and petals tucked inside napkins, of memories preserved not in ink, but in ginger broth and plum vinegar. You don't need to stir anymore. The flame knows what to do. So does the rice. So does the story. And so do you. Sweet dreams.